going on, guys? Welcome back to Busted Knuckle Garage. Today we've got a job that's a little bit of a pain in the butt. So coming home from work last night and in the Honda, so there's a heater hose just behind here. It had split. It's the original heater hose, so it's what, 22 years old. I had to cut a bit of it off this morning and refit it, which normally I'd say yep, all well and good. The fact that I had to do this 6 months ago thinking that it was just the clamp was too tight, turns out no, it's just really old and really delicate. So I'm guessing with the heat cycles it's causing it to break down quicker. So I cut it, refit it, and then drove from my place up to my father's, hoping it would make it all the way. So I went to Repco Super Cheap and Autobarn to get a new heater hose for it. Unfortunately, they're all special order, and the earliest I'd be able to get one was between the 4th of February and the 15th. So I just got a meter length of the same diameter hose. I took the offcut with me, gave it to the guy, measured it up, got some new hose clamps as well. So to start with, I'm gonna have to take off the custom intake, which is gonna be having to undo this screw there, take that off, remove it. This is actually gonna be pretty easy to get to. I'll see if I can get it angled in here. I don't think you will be able to see it. So there is that little hose down there. It's got the little dot on it. So that clamp there is a pinch clamp from factory. So I'm going to have to get down there, undo that, pull this hose off, and then I am going to have to fit one end just behind the dizzy or just under the distributor cap, measure this up and fit it. I know I made that sound like it's going to be really easy, but it's most likely going to take a lot longer than I'm anticipating. I will do my best to cover all of the angles, and if anyone else has any ideas, they can add to it once the video is published. So I will start the fun parts, removing the air intake and taking off the hose at the side of the block. Alright, so to start with, I'm going to undo screw here and the screw here. I'm going to be lazy and use a little cordless screwdriver. Alright, so now you get a bit of view. So it's this hose here, which runs right along to the back. And there's a little pinch clamp just over there in front of my little finger. And then the other part is going to be this one here. So I'm going to use a long screwdriver to get to the front. I replaced the pinch clamp at the front with just a generic cheap hose clamp. So I'll get to that first, as it's the easier one, and then the one up the back, which is going to be a real pain in the butt. So my plan of attack is to come in through here with the screwdriver, and hopefully it won't be too difficult. See if I can do this without dropping the GoPro. Now it is going to leak some coolant once I undo this. The other thing is I've made sure that I've got my heater completely off and closed. Otherwise, when I undo the one at the back, it tees off and there's a little valve there. If it was open, the valve would be open and just constantly letting all the water out of the line out. So I'm going to take off the front one. Alright, so for now, I've just set the new hose over. It is a little bit bigger, but the hose clamp should be able to tighten it up enough to stop it from leaking at all. So now, the fun part is going to be getting that clamp off right there. So the pinch points are at the bottom. I'm going to do my best to try and get it on the GoPro, but it's going to be a bit of a pain in the butt. I'll let you know how I go. If you don't see it on camera, yeah, it's because I couldn't pull it off doing both at the same time. As you may have guessed, I wasn't going to be able to undo the clamp and hold the GoPro at the same time. Managed to loosen it up. So the next step is going to be pulling this one off and then measuring the length of the old one, the new one, and cutting it to length. Alright. Probably should have put gloves on, but yeah. Okay, so this is the old hose. This has gone really soft and squishy. Been 22 years. I'm assuming that it's just slowly degrading. So what you want to make sure you do is take this little piece here off. I'm hoping it will slide straight onto the other one. So this just sits over the hose, and it sits at the point on the hose where this hose will sit on top of the lower radiator hose. Stop it from rubbing, and if it does rub, it won't rub through the main hose. This will act as a spacer, sort of protect it a bit. So I'm hoping I don't have to cut this in half and then fold it over and like wire tie it or zip tie it in place. So guess we'll just have to see how we go. Alright, it fits. So I'll slide it down. Now what I'm going to do is put this hose clamp and hopefully tighten enough that it will stop any leaks. I've noticed this wire clipped is coming out, so I'm going to have to address that after as well. Don't want to over tighten this. I'll do that for now, and then once I've managed to fit the new one on, test it out, see how we go. This is going to sit somewhere around that. Now, just trying to work out the length I'm going to need to cut this to without it kinking. So basically, I'm just running it over the top of the clamp to work out what length I'm gonna need. Mark it with a Sharpie, and then I will cut it with some scissors. I mean, the easy way to do it would probably be to line up the old hose with the new hose. So I'll just double check by doing that. Alright, so I've done the mark just in front of my thumb by straightening this one out a little bit, and then my mark. So I'm going to cut off where I've marked, and if it's still too much, then I might split the difference or work a little bit more towards that line there, which is where the old hose showed it should be, or roughly there. I have chopped a couple of inches off this. It was probably about that much, then I cut that down, and then this morning I had to cut it off even more. So I'll just cut it. I'll now run it back down and see how much slack. Alright, so there's still a bit of play on it, lengthwise anyway. So this rubber piece that I slid over top will just sit there. I may trim it down a little bit more just to stop it rubbing against the charcoal canister. So I might cut another inch or two off, and then she should be ready to go. And perfect. So that will now sit just up here, and then I've just got to tighten that hose clamp up the back. Snap Facebook. Alright, I think that should be good on both ends. Everything's put back on. Checking for leaks. No leaks. No leaks down there. Let it run and build up some pressure. Continue topping up the radiator. And hopefully that's all it needs. Alright, so car's been running for about 15 minutes. Topped up the radiator, let it, no leaks there, no leaks back here, everything is all good. Alright, so that's that done. Now, for those of you who may need to change it and run along the same issue, part I got was a Gates hose. Part number is 3272. It's a heater hose, 3/4 inch or 19 millimeters. But yeah, so that's it. I've got 1 meter. These are my offcuts, so there's still plenty left over. But yeah, anyway guys, that's it for today. Thanks for hanging around to the end. Leave a like if you liked it. Comment, share and subscribe. And I'll catch you in the next episode. Stay safe.